It is 7 p.m. At this time, we're going to open the regularly scheduled meeting scheduled for October 27th. At this time and this place, please call the roll.
Ann Durham.
Here.
Don Walker.
Here.
Mike Flood.
Here.
Diane Damascus here. Quorum is present.
Thank you. Next up are the minutes from the 13th of October meeting. They're in our packet. Anybody have any questions or discussion?
Move the minutes from the October 13th, 2025 meeting be accepted.
And I will support. We have a motion on the floor with support. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Next, we have agenda review and approval. We have 4 cases tonight. Do the board members have any concerns or discussion points before we open them up? Mr. Flood.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the agenda as submitted.
And I will offer support to that also. So we have a motion on the floor with support to get the program underway. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, we're running. First case is AB 2025-30, Sheets Incorporated, vacant parcel, 2.17 acres in the southwestmost corner of Silverbell and Lapeer Roads, Sidwell 09-35-100-023. Petitioner is seeking 6 variances from sign ordinance number 153, Zone GB. Section 7, ground and wall signs in non-residential zoned areas. Number 1 is a variance for 6 additional wall signs in addition to the 1 wall sign allowed, for a total of 7 wall signs, 4 gas fuel canopy sides, 2 building sides, and 1 order point canopy. Number 2 is a 260.49 square foot variance above the allowed 28.94 square feet for a 289.43 square foot east-facing gas fuel canopy side. Number 3 is a 260.49 square foot variance above the allowed 28.94 square feet for a 289.43 square foot west-facing canopy side. Number 4 is a 75.48 square foot variance above the allowed 8.39 square foot for a 83.87 square foot north-facing gas fuel canopy side. Number 5 is a 75.48 square foot variance above the allowed 8.39 square feet for an 83.87 square foot south-facing gas fuel canopy side. And finally, a 19-foot road right-of-way setback from the required 30 feet for a ground sign to be 11 feet from the road right-of-way. Do we have, yes, we do have a petitioner. We will need you to stand up, or if that's a problem, just get in front of a microphone. Identify yourself, please.
Good afternoon, Jim McFarland, zoningresources.com.
Before we open the door here, as you know better than any of us, this site is empty. It's vacant. I was up in that area. I could visualize, by looking at it, I could visualize nothing. So you're going to have to draw a nice picture for us.
Sure.
And I understand that the ordinance is hypercritical, that a lot of things that it calls signs aren't signs in the traditional sense, and that's part of the reason that you have to come in.
Understood.
Please.
I have the USB plugged in.
Podium HDMI.
Maybe if you angle that microphone down that way, because this is being taped and the audience can hear you too. There you go. We need to put a microphone in that chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Durham and the board. I appreciate your service to the community. We represent a lot of clients in a lot of areas of not just Michigan and other parts of the country as well, and the work that you do is thankless. It's difficult, and as much as you try to adhere to the intent of the code, it's a wonderful challenge, and over 10 years, I've gotten to do hearings like this, so I appreciate your burden that you have to try to exercise your effort, your work here. This particular location is one that reflects the branding of Sheetz in all of their locations here in the Michigan area. And just to start, I wanted to just indicate the possible signs that we were thinking about doing that would be allowed per code. We have additional advertising signage that could be on the menu boards as well. There's another 24/7, this is a 24/7 operation. We have graphics that would allow advertisement for that through the drive-through, as well as made-to-order food, which is one of the services offered here besides gas and refueling, as well as an additional Sheetz sign that is typical in all of the Sheetz locations in their stores that they have. But to try to really minimize the amount of variance requests here at this particular location, we've removed a whole lot of graphics from the project to try to have as minimal as possible. For example, one of the variances for 6 additional wall signs, in addition to the one wall sign for a total of 7. This is what the building would look like when it's finished if the board chooses to approve the addition of a second wall sign. There are, on the corner of the facility, there's an entrance on both sides of the facility, and we just really want to have a graphic over the entrances, specifically for folks coming in from either location. As well, one of the things that typically we have 5 signs on the building, but right now we just are requesting 2 as minimal. One of the other things that is being offered for the board to consider is a reduction in the size of the wall signs. A typical Sheetz logo sign is 16.52 square feet, but in this case, we're offering to reduce that to a 10 square foot sign area in terms of the traditional box calculation. So again, trying to minimize the amount of graphic area for the location. Items 2, 3, 4, and 5 reflect primarily the red, as Mr. Durham mentioned in his opening remarks. We're wanting just to be consistent with the intent of decisions made in previous cases for the board. And red is the brand for the Sheetz or corporation in all of the locations in every facility. And then again, in this outlined area, we're just looking at a 10 square foot area of graphics on the canopy itself, not counting all of the red that would accompany that. Typically, these canopy graphics are a little over 13 square feet in most stores, but in this case, that's being reduced down to just 10 square feet. We're requesting 3 actual graphics with the word Sheetz, which is the brand, at both the north and south end of the canopy, as well as at sign B1, which is be facing the primary street. We worked with staff trying to come up with other alternatives to help reflect the code by offering a reduced or darker version of the red color. However, with staff interpretation, they still believe that it needed to be included with the variant. So our request is to have the traditional brighter and normal brand color to reflect the location. Examples of other facilities, I happened to see the Sunoco driving up on Jocelyn Road, a beautiful road, where we have a gas station canopy with multiplicity of colors reflecting the brand, as well as 2 different logos on the street facing. At 3901 Lapeer, we have a monument reflecting the proximity to the front road setback, and we calculated that approximately about 50 square feet from the road. And then at 3865 Baldwin, again, we've got a multicolored canopy graphic that was approved, as well as a freestanding sign very close to the road as well. Additionally, we are removing all of the graphics from all the drive-through elements from the clearance bar, other than the safety bar, as you see on this image that hangs below. We want to keep that there so individuals obviously can clear that safely, but there will be no graphics on the drive-through clearance bar area, as well as the order point. And we've also typically have a menu board provided at the drive-through, which at this case, we will not be installing. Here's an example of a recent case, actually not too recent. This is one that was approved a few years ago for a marathon. Variances reflective of the color around the canopy area as well. And the final variance that we're looking for is one that is very hardship-based in terms of a 6 to 8 foot required barrier wall that's have to be put up. And the graphic that itself that we have is just under 8 feet. So if we had to put that and meet the setback requirement, which is indicated here on the site plan, we would be unable to view that because of the barrier wall will be in place. There's light poles that are impeding, required utilities that have to be run in this location, as well as a retaining wall that is high relative to the size of the monument. Finally, this is an example of the mobile we mentioned earlier. Again, these are estimates of the setback from the curb, and that's one thing we recognize is that our proximity to the curb is approximate to the same as mobile. It is very similar in terms of the distance, so it'll look about the same in terms of curb perspective to the mobile if you choose to approve the variances we requested. And finally, here's one as recently as November of 2024, a variance that you approved for a Raising Cane's facility that was related to a setback for a monument sign. And for this particular case, you approved a 20-foot setback from the property line at Brown Road, and we were only asking for 19. So we're asking for less of a variance than you did offer for approval for Raising Cane's. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Help me. Auto circulation on that site. They'll come in off 24, right?
That would be one, yes. We have two different access points in this, on the south side as well as on the top on the the west side as well, which is more of a service road than a primary road.
It'll be off Silverbell.
I'm sorry?
That would be off of Silverbell Road, to the west.
Correct.
Because parts of this site, we've spoken with other applicants that are going to be used for other things, and you're probably aware of that too, and I was just curious how your customers would get to you. It appears that you have been good enough to work with the board before you got here, understanding that less is always more when variances come in front of us. And that's always been appreciated every time that we see it.
Welcome.
In our packet, there's a memo from our Lynn Harrison, our planning and zoning specialist. And our planning and zoning department does a great job trying to keep us up to par on how this works. These 2 through 5 variants, which sounds like a lot of square footage and everything, that's the paint on the canopy. We've been through this before with the gentleman just showed all those other gas station canopy. The way our ordinance is written up, every paint line, that one had 3 different colors on it. That was a really interesting one. I think it was a Sunoco or something. But it's weird on how they consider a color a sign. If that canopy was pure white, then you would never have to get the variance.
Unless white is considered a color in your code.
Unless white's considered a color.
Correct.
Exactly, right. I was going through your packet, and on your one sign back there where you're having the drive-through, you notice for safety, that's where you want that located so the customer, the people on the drive-through aren't riding right up by your convenience store and the gas pumps. And you know, people walk all the time between the gas pumps and the way you've got that located is for a safety factor.
Correct.
And that's why you need that sign there so they go in the right place without having to go around. And I noticed that when I've gone to different traveling, a lot of pedestrian traffic.
Yes.
I mean, I just want to let the audience know that a lot of times they think, well, that's a lot of variance as well. It's all that paint on that canopy, you know, most of it there is. And I noticed your signage, you kind of copied what they got across the street at Mobile. And you're going to be, you're going to be behind the safety path. And our main concern is the line of sight, and there'll be no problem. I went out there and looked, there'll be no problems to line of sight. And, that's my main concern, the line of sight on those corners.
Yes.
So, that's my input.
Thank you. While the board's thinking it over, do we have anybody in the audience that came to speak specifically to this case? Seeing none, thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Walker?
I have a question for the building official on that line of sight issue. Do you see any problems with the line of sight? No, not. Okay, thank you.
Damascus?
By any chance, you've done other signs for this company, correct?
Correct.
Do you have any photographs of one of the facilities that would be similar to this?
It would take me a minute to pull them up. I can just give you a perspective previous. Probably the monument itself, this is a square design, but the ones in the canopy, in this case, will be difficult to really differentiate because they're going to be reduced quite a bit. Here's an orientation from above. It only projects out approximately 6 inches from the canopy edge. So there will be some dimension to it, and the lettering itself, Diane, will only be 1 inch. So we want to have obviously some projection of the graphic to be able to stand out so you could read it since we're making it smaller. However, this is still typical for most of the way that the graphic logo looks. And if the board approves the red, then it'll pretty much what you'll be able to read is only the white letter sheets.
Along with that location you got there, unless you stop at that stoplight, the speed limit is 55, and I know everybody abides by 55. You know, and one good thing about your location, I know originally they wanted to put it down closer to the village, and that was denied. And this is a great location. Nobody will be making a left-hand turn to get in there unless they're making a left-hand turn off of Silverbell Road to get in on that service drive. Because you're on the southbound side of the freeway, or not freeway, but the road. And if they want to go in there, going northbound, they just go down to the first turnaround and come back.
Yeah, fortunately for most
There's a safety factor there, not having to.
Yeah, and for most jurisdictions where we've had questions about traffic flow and ingress and egress sites to the sites, fortunately, the reputation of Sheetz is so well received in the communities it's been established that eventually, people become accustomed, because I don't know about you, I have a habit of the Sheetz store that I go to, or the Dunkin' Donuts, or the BB Coffee, whatever your thing is, once you get into that habit, you just, if you're from Michigan, you have a leg up. Other than for me from Ohio, I don't understand it quite the same.
That's called the Michigan left.
Yes.
Anything additional by the board?
Oh, I'm prepared to make a motion if there's anybody else wants to do it.
Please.
Have at it, right? Correct me if I say something wrong here on my numbers or something here. I appreciate that. In the matter of ZBA case AB 2025-30, Sheetz, Inc., vacant parcel 2.17 acres in the southwest-most corner of Silverbell and Lapeer Roads, Sidwell number 0935-100-023. I move that the petitioner's request for 6 variances from sign ordinance 153, Zone GB, Section 7, ground and wall signs in non-residential zoned areas. 1, a variance for 6 additional wall signs in addition to the 1 wall sign, allowed for a total of 7 wall signs, 4 gas fuel canopy sides, 2 building signs, and 1 odor point canopy. Number 2, a 260.49 square foot variance from the allowed 28.94 square feet for a 289.43 square foot east-facing gas fuel canopy side. Number 3, a 260.49 square foot variance above the allowed 28.9 square foot or 289.43 square feet west-facing gas fuel canopy side. Number 4, a 75.48 square foot variance above the allowed 8.39 square feet or a 83.87 square foot north-facing gas field canopy side. And number 5, a 75.48 square foot variance above the allowed 8.39 square feet or 83.87 square foot south-facing gas field canopy side. And number 6, a 19-foot road right-of-way setback variance from the required 30 feet for a ground sign to be 11 feet from the road right-of-way be granted for an application date stamp received September 25, 2025, because the petitioner did demonstrate that the following standards for variances have been met in this case, and they set forth facts which show that in this case, petitioner does show the following practical difficulties. Number 1 is it's unique to this parcel. It's located in a commercial industrial corner, which is currently vacant on that southwest corner. And the difficulty is in our ordinance, every coloring on those canopies, on those gas station pump canopies, both north, south, east, and west, is considered a sign. Also, the one additional sign for the drive-through is a safety factor. They're locating it on the back of the building where it will not interfere with the pedestrian traffic at the fuel pumps and the convenience store. And another practical difficulty is on Lapeer Road, the setback on their ground sign. And their ground sign, according to our planning and zoning director, specialist, Lynn Harrison, says it meets all the criteria of the sign ordinance for a electronic message board and also the size of the sign. It's in compliance. But they're having to install a retaining wall along Lapeer Road, which is part of the requirement of businesses along there to put that type of wall in. And if the sign was put back where it was, a retaining wall would hide the sign. So that's part of your landscaping. The following are exceptional or extraordinary circumstantial conditions applicable to the property involved that do not apply generally to other property in the same district or zone. They are extraordinary circumstances, as I just said, in the practical difficulty of the way the canopies have to have considered a sign. The variance or variances is necessary for the preservation and enjoyment of substantial property right possessed by other property in the same zone or vicinity, or a smaller variance would be sufficient. In this case, it is a gas station convenience store, and it will be open 24/7, located on one of our biggest main thoroughfare, a state highway. And this is a similar variances that have been granted previously on similar gas stations along that route. The granting of the variance or modification will not be material detrimental to the public welfare or materially injurious to the property or to improvements in such zone or district in which the property is located based on the following findings. Mainly, the signage is for a wayfinding. So people who are traveling the legal speed limit of 55 can see that before they have to slam on their brakes. And also, it's a safety factor on that drive-through. And one more thing, the variance was not self-created. That's my motion.
We have a motion by Mr. Flood, supported by Mrs. Danaskis. Did you have something, Mr. Walker?
I was just going to mention that the granting of the variance with regard will not affect the right-of-way visually at all.
I'll amend my motion to include that the ground sign will not affect the line of sight. Is that what you were saying, Mr. Walker, the line of sight?
In my own way, yes.
I will amend my motion to reflect that.
Very good. Motion by Mr. Flood, with amendments offered and accepted by Mr. Walker, and second by Mrs. Danaskis. Anything additional by the board? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Mike Flood.
Yes.
Jane Danaskis, yes. Don Walker.
Yes.
Dan Durham.
Yes, motion passes. Good luck to you. You got a lot of work to do.
Thank you for coming to Orion Township. I see, I hate to bring it up, but I see Macomb turned it down, huh?
Next up, we have AB 2025-31, Allied Signs for Kroger Company, 460 North Lapeer Road, Sidwell 09-02-276-007. The petitioner is seeking two variances from sign ordinance 153, zoned SC, Section 7, ground and wall signs in non-residentially zoned areas. Number one is a variance for one additional wall sign to be added to the two previously approved wall signs for a total of 3 wall signs. And number two is a 63.1 square foot variance above the existing approved 295.59 square feet of total wall signs for a total of 358.69 square feet. Good evening.
Good evening.
Introduce yourself, please, and let us know what you're about.
33650 Giftos Drive in Clinton Township. We are one of Kroger's regional partners. We've been doing a large string of these rebranding projects. In this instance, you'll see that many of the Krogers in the Michigan market, there's a redevelopment in the layout of the stores to include a pickup. Since the COVID pandemic, a lot of our retailers and food suppliers have realized that the pickup and call ahead is now the mainstay to service a lot of the elderly, a lot of the needier people that don't have the transportation. And it's a matter of convenience. So there's a major shift in the paradigm in what they're trying to apply their services to. To do so, the Krogers have actually taken their store footprints and they've modified to where they've added an additional entrance in a lot of these buildings that did not exist before. And in doing so, they add parking spaces, additional handicap spaces at those entrances, and short-term quick parking that are designated for pickup only. And what that has done, it shifts a large portion of their clientele to a specific side away from the main entry, where you get a lot of congestion. You know, trying to go into any of these merchants, you have a lot of influx and outflux right there coming in those doors. And you also have a lot of the pharmacy business, which they try to scatter. So they try to keep the pickup away because it's a quick in and out, call ahead order. They bring it out, they serve it to the people, they help them load it in their trucks or their vehicles and get them along their way. All they're asking for in this instance is the pickup area is going to be created on this side of the building. So what they're doing is it helps to keep the traffic away from the main entrance and the other congestion and bring them over to the pickup. So that way it's more streamlined in effect. Market studies have been really supporting the use of this with people that have challenges, especially with mobility and issues getting in and out. Kroger's has done it, Meijer has done it. I think even your Meijer has instances as well, where they have the 3 wall signs. So the hardship is really not created by Kroger's itself. Your zoning allows for basically 1 wall sign. There are 2 already approved. So this is just an additional third to help bracket that out. Kroger has done a rebranding, so in changing over their old style signs to the new logos, incorporating their cart is pretty much across the country. So with the designated pickup area, the practical difficulty is only allowing the 1 wall size, despite the size and shape of the building. It would be more burdensome to the customers going to use the pickup services if it wasn't clearly identified to them. Because what that would do would create traffic at the front where there's confusion. They would have to park in the front, go through the front main entries to try to find their orders or the pickup area, which is actually in a whole different part where they can't service it through the main entrances. So that's by design.
One question for you to save me from pouring through this information again. What face of the building is it going to be on?
This
Is it the
Podium again?
Yeah, so it's at the, it's more at the Elizabeth Street, so there's a side entry into the lot off Elizabeth Street, and that will be where that portion is.
Elizabeth, that'd be the south end.
Southwest corner of that lot, I believe.
Mr. Chair,
Ms. Walker?
so that's where the pharmacy pickup is?
This is
On that
grocery
wall?
pickup.
Because that happens to be my Kroger, not wishing to plug you or anything, but, and I've seen the congestion over there with the folks that are getting that special order kind of stuff, and I think this makes great sense.
It clears, it really does help a lot, especially when they go through and they redesign the parking lot, and they get the designated spaces and they add the additional handicap spots, which get people in and out a lot better. So it's a really great service. It's done really well, and it's really supporting the community a lot better.
Mr. Chairman, I noticed, again, our planning and zoning specialist, Lynn Harrison has a note in here that these other two signs were approved back when they built Kroger back in, 27 years ago in 1998. And she has in here, as times have changed and most grocery stores now provide customers the ability to pre-order their groceries and pick them up in a designated area, the additional sign will identify that store's designated pickup areas. Mr. Walker is saying is congested. I know I go to my Kroger up down here, and I've seen people go around the parking lot like this, trying to find out what, first time there, they're trying to find the designated area, and it's just painted on the asphalt. So this, like Mr. Walker said, this will help immensely.
Do we have anybody in the audience that came to speak to this tonight? Thank you. Mr. Naskis, you have any?
No, I'm prepared to make a motion unless the board has other questions or concerns.
Please.
In the matter of ZBA case AB 2025-31, Allied Signs for Kroger Company, 460 North Lapeer Road, Sidwell 0902276007. I move that the petitioner's request for two variances from sign ordinance 153 zoned SC, section 7, ground and wall signs in non-residential zoned areas. 1, a variance for one additional wall sign to be added to previously approved wall signs for a total of 3 wall signs. 2, a 63.1 square foot variance from above the existing approved 295.59 square feet of total wall signs for a total of 358.69 square feet be granted for an application date stamped and received September 26, 2025, because the petitioner did demonstrate that the following standards for variance have been met in this case, and that they set forth facts which show that in this case, the petitioner shows the following practical difficulty, which it means it's due to the unique characteristics of the property. In this case, it's not only the unique characteristics of the property, it's also the changing habits and shopping habits of people that have changed dramatically over the years, requiring more space and more conveniently located space for people who are picking up food and not coming in to shop. Also, the current setup is that the pickup area conflicts with the pharmacy area, causing congestion, which is dangerous to customers and inconvenient as well. Following are exceptional or extraordinary circumstances applicable to the property that do not generally apply to other properties in the same district or zone. Once again, this is a dramatic change in usage of the parking lot and the needs for people who are parking. Right now, it's confusing. People have to go to an area that is not close to the actual pickup area. And this sign will provide clearer direction for people and make it safer, particularly for our senior citizens, who are many of the customers who are taking advantage of this. The variances are necessary for the preservation and enjoyment of a substantial property right possessed by other properties in the same zone or vicinity. Again, we want to provide as much safety and convenience to our citizens as we possibly can, and this accomplishes that. The granting of the variance will not be materially detrimental to the public welfare or materially injurious to the property or to improvements in such zone or district in which the property is located. The variance was not self-created. Once again, situations have changed that are causing the need for this. That is my motion.
Support.
Motion on the floor by Mrs. Janaskis with support by Mr. Walker. Anything additional by the board? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Diane Danaskus, yes. Mike Flood?
Yes.
Dan Walker?
Yes.
Dan Durham?
Yes.
Don Walker, Dan Durham. Yes.
Motion passes. You're all set.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
For the record, we're not going to grant any more sign variances today, though. That's it for today.
Next up, we have 2025-32 Paul Newville at 350 Indianwood Road, Sidwell 09-02-151-008. Petitioner is seeking one variance from zoning ordinance 78, zoned R1, Article 6, Section 6.04, a 2-foot side yard setback variance from the required 10 feet to construct a detached accessory building 8 feet from the property line to the northeast. Sir,
Yes,
you'd introduce yourself?
I'm Paul Newville. I am the homeowner of the address you cite. And we're just trying to build a accessory building in front of the existing. And just happens to be that it would line up 2 feet within the existing alleged 10-foot boundary line. The reason I say ledge is because we're really not sure where it is. But latest survey might have indicated that not only this new building, but my existing house might be too close. So we're just trying to extend out so we can park our vehicles. And I've already talked with the neighbor, and we're good friends and everything, and he's fine with it. And if you take a look at the pictures that I included, there's plenty of space between the two houses. And everybody is, okay with it. So we asked for that variance.
How long have you had your property?
Since '83.
And your neighbor on the other, next to you? How long, if you think?
Dave on the east side of us has been there for probably 5 years, 6 years.
So both of these were like they are now when you got them,
Yeah.
pre-existing.
Well, in fact, what is even more interesting is Dan Morgan, who was the previous owner, he passed away. But before I bought the house, they installed a propane tank to the east side of the house. And both Dan and I agreed, we thought the property line followed the tree line, which would have given us 5 or 6 extra feet on our side. So the offset would have been more like 15 feet. But when Dave moved in, he had another survey done. Well, now the line moved. Okay, so we're not sure where it is. But neither of us really care. We all get along pretty well. And in fact, the neighbor on the other side encroached on my property. I really don't care. We took care of that. We're all happy.
I mean, you got a couple nice, clean pieces of property down there. Everything looked good. What you're asking, at least in my mind, is a very minor variance. That if you'd have known in advance, you could have poured the pad a little bit different angle, and you might not have needed anything. So in the world of variances, you're not asking for very much.
No, I don't think so. Thanks.
Board members, Ms. Flood.
You exactly said what I was talking about. The way this is set up, it's coming off it's not gonna be past this, it's coming off the corner of his house, and that's where like you said, if you angle the pad. But I was interested in reading you've had that for 42 years, you've been there.
Correct.
And I like the way you did the history on this, is that in your practical difficulties, it's been shifting property owners. Inaccurate surveys were done back then. The changing of our ordinance and codes, and the house was built 77 years ago. So, like you say, it's very minimal. He's doing the right thing too by coming before us and doing it the right way. I like that.
And I'm trying to do the right thing, because I think I should have disqualified myself from this. But I didn't understand the whole layout. Is the neighbor to your other side, you said, his name is, one guy's name's Dave,
Correct, Dave?
is the other guy's name Jim?
Yep. Yep.
I had a half-hour conversation with Jim this morning
Oh,
with nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
So
Jim and I get along too. I mean, we got our own little neighborhood down there.
we haven't even got to the guys in the back room I know all about. This is like my meeting today. Everything is about me.
Yeah.
Are you asking whether the board thinks you should?
Yeah, for sure, only because I'm two neighbors away from this gentleman whom I've never met in my life.
Okay, yep.
One of those bad guys in the condos. yes.
Oh, no. Those,
According to our bylaws, all we have to do is disclose that if the board feels it's a conflict of interest, I feel there's no conflict of interest here, there's no financial gain or anything like that. And, we're such a small neighborhood, sometimes you know different people. I had a neighbor behind me ask for a variance, and I was told that's quite all right. I had no interest in that. I have no problem.
Here.
I agree.
I don't think we need to put a motion on it either.
I'll be happy to recuse myself if you think it's necessary.
No, no.
Do we have anybody in the audience for this tonight? Okay. Board members, motion if somebody's ready.
We're doing no one, Dan?
Well, I guess I'm going to be ready.
I did that real long one, I gotta
Yeah.
catch my breath,
That counts for all of them, right? You don't have to do any more tonight.
catch my breath.
Okay. In the matter of ZBA case AB 2025-32, Paul Newville, 350 Indianwood Road, Sidwell 0902-151-008. I move that the petitioner's request for one variance from zoning ordinance number 78, zoned R1, Article 6, Section 6.04. Number 1, a 2-foot side yard setback variance from the required 10 feet to construct a detached accessory building 8 feet from the property line northeast. Be granted for an application date stamped and received September 29, 2025, because the petitioner did demonstrate that the following standards for variances have been met in this case, and then they set forth facts which show that in this case, the petitioner has the following practical difficulty. In that, due to confusion with the property line identification, the long history of this neighborhood, the houses were built many years ago, and so the property owner did not have the knowledge to actually change the location of the construction. The following exceptional or extraordinary circumstances or conditions applicable to the property involved that do not generally apply to other properties in the same district or zone. Once again, with the confusion of the property line, the owner was unable to initially establish the building location the 10 feet away from the property line. The variance or variances are necessary for the preservation and enjoyment of a substantial property right possessed by other properties in the same zone or vicinity. This is needed for additional parking, and, is that correct? Right. And necessary to accommodate the owner's vehicles. The granting of the variance will not be materially detrimental to public welfare or materially injurious to the property or improvements in such zone or district in which the property is located. The variance was not self-created.
I'll support the motion.
Motion on the floor by Mrs. Danaskis, supported by Mr. Flood. Anything additional by the board? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Don Walker,
Yes.
Mike Flood,
Yes.
Diane Danastis, yes, Dan Durham.
Yes. Motion passes. You're all set.
thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Nice to meet you after 42 years.
Next up, AB 2025-33, J.B. Donaldson Company, 4285 South Lapeer Road, Sidwell's 0935-200-032 and 09-35-200-033. Petitioner is seeking 3 variances from zoning ordinance 78, zoned LI, Section 16, Article 16, Section 16.03D2. Number one, a 19-foot variance from the required 50-foot green belt buffer along the east side of the property. Under Article 16, Section 16.04, a 3.66% lot coverage variance above the allowed 30% for a total lot coverage of 33.66%. Under Article 27, Section 27.05F, number 3, variance is a 19-foot variance from the required 50-foot setback for parking on the east side of the property to have a 31-foot setback. Sir.
Hi, good evening. My name's Clay Thomas. Thank you all very much. I'm with J.B. Donaldson Company, 37610 Hills Tech Drive, Farmington Hills, Michigan. I'm here representing the owner and the applicant. As you so nicely summarized, thank you very much. We are seeking 3 variances. We have a site plan that we're hooked up here if you want to. Do we have to do anything down here, or?
He's the guru. Oh, you want me to? HDMI?
It's HDMI, yeah.
The assistant.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Podium.
So in any event, I'll deal with the first and third variances first, because they're related. They relate to the east side of the property where a 50-foot green belt is required. We're seeking a variance to reduce that to 31 feet. For the 2 variances represent 2 different improvements. One of them is a retaining wall, and the other is parking, though it's important to note that we don't intend to build that parking. The parking will be banked for future purposes. It's required by code. So you can see here in a minute, when we get this up.
While we're waiting, if I can interrupt you
Yeah.
for just 1 second. Now we're talking north of the Bocce.
Palazzo de Bocce. We're adjacent north to Palazzo de Bocce, that's right.
I got on that property, it was the first time I was on that property in my life.
Okay,
I started looking around, and as you heard me tell the gas station folks, I visualized nothing. I don't know where I didn't see any staking, I didn't see anything.
Yeah.
Other than there was a hole over here that was probably gonna be water retention. And I saw that you had a detailed plan, but me seeing the plan and being able to put it on the property
yeah.
is difficult.
It can be challenging. It's a challenging site for sure, and I'll try to walk you through it if we.
I was glad to see you brought enough horsepower, because somebody ought to be able to answer the question.
Somebody, right, exactly.
Go ahead.
So you're correct. Immediately north of the bocce is where the retention pond will be, and then it will be our entrance road, and then beyond the entrance road is wetlands. And so the building will be sitting behind the retention pond and the wetlands. It would be great if we could. Okay. In any event, so because of some of the unique challenges of this site, which include the topography, if you were out on the site, you saw, no doubt, all the topography on the site, the elevation changes, together with the wetlands, as I noted, which have their own requirements. They're regulated wetlands, so we have eagle requirements, which we're addressing, but it's also a conservation easement, which has its own separate requirements. So with all of these unique challenges, we worked at length with the planning department to get a site plan that everyone would be happy with, and to try to minimize any variances we would need, but we were left with these 3 variances. And so the first 2, as I said, are on the east side, the back of the property, which is adjacent to the residential behind, reducing that green belt buffer from 50 feet to 31 feet. Part of it is land bank parking that would only be for, did you have a question?
No, I got it on here.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great if you could pull it up. Okay. That'd be great. Yeah, I just need the site plan, that's helpful.
Standardized one?
Easier to see it. Trying to describe it, but.
Need me to help you?
There we go.
There we go.
Very, very nice.
Right, so you can see at the back of the property there, which is east, you can see we we have the thick black line in between the parking and the property line is the retaining wall, and then there's banked parking, which will just be grass as we develop it. And so it's still 31 feet from the property line. It's also important to note that this is where the most significant elevation is. The property goes up significantly back there, and so although, yes, it's a different use behind us, there's no visual connection between the two properties. There's a huge hill back there. The residential is much lower than our site, and in addition, the trees we'll be planting, there'll be no way to see between these two properties. So that's important to know. Then the last variance, so that relates to the retaining wall and the parking. The last variance we're requesting is number 2 here, which is an increased lot coverage variance. Typically, the requirement is 30%. We're 3.66% over that. Again, given the challenges of this site and the unique elevation and all of the requirements of the wetland that we're dealing with, siting this property where it was and making it the size it was necessary in order for us to be able to develop this. And I think we've gotten into a place where everyone on the Planning Commission and others in the community are happy about the project. Our prospective tenant is happy about the project. And it's important to note, and maybe this is in your notes as well, that it has been conditionally site plan approved with subject to these variances as well. So I'm happy to go into some of the further details on some of the challenges we faced if you have questions about it. But with that, I'll leave it to questions from you, and if there's anything I can answer, I'd be happy to.
It's not a question, but Mr. Walker's very familiar with this too. A lot of times a developer has a choice, come to the ZBA first or come to ZBA after. In this case here, the planners and the expressed these concerns that he would need these variances here now in order to approve their site plan. So, and this is quite common. We run into this a lot. And as a reference, it's on the front page of our Orion Review this week, if you had a chance to read it. They came before the Township Board for a tax exemption for 12 years, and that was granted 7-0, which has no bearing on our variances here tonight. But it's the same company, so it's a matter of fact that the Planning Commission's on board, and so is the Township Board. But we are a separate entity. We don't answer to anybody except, if something doesn't like that happens, our ordinance and the state law is they have to go to court. The Township Board or the Planning Commission has no jurisdiction over us whatsoever. Just get that on record.
Question for you. It's not directly germane to what you're here for tonight, so you don't have to go in depth. I'm just curious. You speak of elevation changes and parking lots where there is now ground. You've got all your water handled. Do you know how much you're going to be moving in which direction, and you're going to intercept it? You've got ahead of that.
So our engineer's here. He can speak to volumes, but I can say if you pan to the west on this, yeah. So all the water is going to be going first into the retention pond, and then it'll be going into the wetlands as per Eagle regulations and the conservation easement. In terms of volumes, I don't know if we have our engineer from HRC here, Matt Slicker. If he can share with us the volumes.
It's not really necessary.
Okay.
As I say, it's not germane to what you're talking to us about anyway. It's just when I see something like this, it always makes me curious.
Yeah, and I mean, what we did, and part of the sort of the give and take with the Planning Commission was we actually increased the size of our retention so that we could retain more water to help the area and also to discharge less into the wetlands. So it's part of the give and take, which causes some of the unique challenges of this, because that area got larger, which reduced the size for other things on the property. So, it just that trying to get the sweet spot between what worked for everyone and had the fewest number of variances that were needed. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that's part of that retention pond.
I don't think we have any public. I believe everybody came with this gentleman.
Yeah, we're all here together.
Public. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'm prepared to make a motion. If everyone's satisfied with any questions.
Ready to listen Flood.
I gotta say, if I leave something out, please feel free to jump in. In the matter of ZBA case AB 2025-33, J.B. Donaldson Company, 4285 South Lapeer Road, Sidwell 0935 200 032 and 0935 200 033. I move that the petitioner's request for 3 variances from zoning ordinance number 78, zone LI, Article 16, Section 16.03 D2, 1, a 19-foot variance from the required 50-foot greenbelt buffer along the east side of the property to have a greenbelt 31 feet wide. Article 16, Section 16.04, a 3.66% lot coverage variance above the allowed 30% for a total lot coverage of 33.66%. Article 27, Section 27.05, F, a 19-foot variance from the required 50-foot setback for parking on the east side of the property to have a 31-foot setback be granted for an application date stamp received September 30th, 2025, because the petitioner did demonstrate that the following standards for variances have been met in this case, and that the set forth facts would show that in this case, the petitioner does show the following practical difficulties. One is the unique characteristic of this property. The topographic of the property, the existing wetlands, the elevation of the property. The following are exceptional or extraordinary circumstances or conditions applicable to the property involved that do not apply generally to other properties in the same district or zone. The challenges on this site is mainly because of the enlargement of the retention pond, which kind of shrinks down their building site. The variances are necessary for preservation and enjoyment of substantial property right possessed by other property in the same zone or district. Due to the fact this is in the LI district, it meets all the requirements. The gentlemen have been before the Planning Commission, and these variances are what the concerns of our planners and the Planning Commission were, and they are, by granting these variances, it will satisfy those requirements by those people. The variance of variances is necessary for the preservation and enjoyment. I already did that one, didn't I? The granting of the variance or modifications will not be material or detrimental to the public welfare or materially injurious to the property or improvements in such zone or district which the property is located based on the following findings. By enlarging that retention pond, they are addressing the concern of stormwater management per our engineering standards and the state regulations. The variance is not self-created. That's my motion.
Support?
Motion by Mr. Flood, supported by Mrs. Janaskis. Anything additional by the board? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Jane Daniskis, yes. Don Walker?
Yes.
Mike Flood?
Yes.
Dan Durham?
Yes, motion passes. Gentlemen are on your way.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And for the record, I don't know any of these guys. I've seen them a great deal over the last few months.
Well, thank you all very much. I hope you have a great evening.
You're welcome.
We look forward to make this development come true.
We're glad to have you in our community.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Remind them about the trees.
Yes, I will.
Okay.
I knew that was coming.
Next, public comment. We're losing all our public. Any communications, anything from the board? Committee reports, I don't think we've got anything active. Member comments, anybody have anything additional? You guys are all gonna go away and come back smarter than
Yeah.
we all are now. I'm not going, but everybody else is, I guess.
I have a comment to make.
Please.
And I want to get on public record. Being the elected official on this board, I have to run for election by the vote of the people. And I've noticed there's some people in our great Lacorin chat room. You know what I mean. Someone posted the posting for our next meeting in there, and it's in the on review, and there's all your public notices. And I have no problem with it putting on the chat room. That's a public notice. What I find disturbing is that people don't know what they're talking about half the time. They get their apples and oranges mixed up. Everyone has a right in this state of Michigan. We follow the law. Public notices are published in the paper according to the law of Michigan. This is a public building. You may come to this building, and we always ask for public comment on every motion we make. The law also says that any of these properties within 300 feet, they must have a written notice by mail, and that is done correctly. Where some misconception is that when we have a applicant request a postponement to go back to planning and zoning and to relook at their case, to bring it back again, they do not have to repay. People are saying it's a money grab. It's not the case. I welcome anybody in the public to come to these meetings. I see the auditorium is full. However, I want to stand up for our great people, our residents. We are all residents here that live here. We dedicate our time. We could be home sitting back watching a football game or a baseball game right now. But every one of my constituents up here, which I highly respect, made an application to sit on this board. And we have 2 alternates too that sit on this board. Our planning commission are all residents of this community. They put applications in. If you have a problem with your government or any of these boards, please put your application in and get involved in your community. Be part of the process, not part of the problem. And to insinuate that anybody is taking any backdoor kickbacks and stuff is an insult to every one of these respected people up here who I've known for years. It's uncalled for. If you want my job, run for election. Get out there and knock on doors. Get out there, start a campaign, finance committee, like we all have to do as an elected official. I welcome the challenge. That's all I got to say.
Very good, well said, thank you. Anything additional, any comments by the board?
I move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn, I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're done.